Hey there, I'm Meredith, and I'm an intuitive and an astrologer based out of the mountains of North Carolina. And today it is a full moon in Aquarius, and this full moon is pretty loaded. I'm gonna start out by saying if you are like tired and can't get shit done and like aren't in the space to like make action, then you are not alone. Right now, Mars is a planet that represents obviously action, forward momentum, and Mars is not only slowing down, it goes retrograde on October 30th. And I'm going to make a whole other video about this, I've decided, because I think it has massive implications, not just for our personal lives, but for the states as well, and also the world. So I'm going to check into that and make a couple of predictions. And then I'm also going to, I'm going to look into how we can improve our communication with each other through this type of transit, because I think those are skills that we will need. So yeah, so let's talk about the full moon in Aquarius. The full moon today is coming exact at 18 degrees of Aquarius. So I'm going to take a second, actually, I think, and I'm going to read Elias Lonsdale, the 18th degree of Aquarius, because I think that this will give us a little bit of insight into what we could be seeing in October when Saturn stations direct on this very degree. So it's kind of important if you're an astrologer to recognize like patterns, and this 18th degree point is a pattern. So I am going to read this degree. So this says the loud crushing noises as a glacier moves. The indomitable spirit of one who has been at this forever and will still be on collective karmic alert to the very end. Purpose hugely takes precedence. Whatever is changing and whatever is staying the same are the two forces you track with and report back to cosmic center upon. You are being driven to the utmost to observe and witness objectively and dispassionately all the decisive and epochal shifts and pressures in the collective mix. Eyes wide open in the dark. Attention riveted to trends and turning points, and yielded up to a long ago agreed to code of recording and evaluating all of the relevant data so that the cosmic forces can determine what is happening way down here and can fine-tune their ways to evolve the situation optimally so that all concerned can synchronize with the greater ways and be released from anything and everything that runs counter to the bright promise of Earth evolution. So yeah, kind of a big deal in terms of the degree symbolism. I think that, Aquarius represents, on the positive side, it represents our like freedom-oriented nature, our desire to come together with others and create something brand new. Aquarius is a very inventive and innovative sign. And I think that, represented in our collective right now, there's definitely a shadow aspect of Aquarius, represented by the transhumanist fucktards of the World Economic Forum and other such organizations that are attempting to sort of, there's like a communitarian false type of model that's emerging that, is kind of like, is trying to kind of homogenize everyone and make everyone the same, right? We think of the Leo, part of the Leo Aquarius axis, as the individual and then the group, right? So here in this world at this time, we have the individual kind of being like smoshed and demolished by like the rising like needs of the group, which if you look deeper, you'll find that those are the needs of the billionaires. So, and other such, organizations that are kind of like perpetuating a lot of just things that I think if we let them go on long enough and we let this sort of like mature, and we let like what was initiated in 2020, if we let that go to its end, it goes to a pretty dark place. You can just, so I think that this full moon in Aquarius is honestly really highlighting, from my perspective, at least when I look out into the world, it's highlighting the shadow aspect, I would say, more than like the positive aspect of Aquarius. It's through this type of full moon, I feel like, because this full moon is with Saturn. Saturn is the planet of lessons. It's the planet of sober realizations, hard truths. It's the planet of density. It's the planet of what is actually like real and materializing, right? So, when I think about, like people talking about, oh, this is the age of Aquarius and nothing is wrong and everything is great. And I'm just like, I don't know if we were meant to like really ride out that. I think that bliss wave, that drip feed of bliss that people in the spiritual community seem to be addicted to, that is like something that is not natural. And I think that hopefully this Saturn like conjunction, because Saturn is retrograde right now, has us looking back, has us in a reflective place ideally, right? So Saturn in Aquarius with the moon is sort of like, it's a little bit of a bubble burst, I think, because since last year in 2021, Saturn in Aquarius has been squaring Uranus and Taurus on and off, right, at different times. So the first time this happened was in February of last year. The next time it happened was in June. And then the next time it happened was in December, right? So we come into January of this year and we are kind of like on that square between Saturn and Uranus, right? So right now, I think what the IRS is doing is something that, in my opinion, is very like shadow Aquarius. And I think that, and that's also something that kind of came up with the dark moon into this full moon in Aquarius. And I think that this full moon is kind of like having us look into our own lives as like this sort of sober, like, what do I really need to do here? What do I really have here? I think that the energy with Neptune in Pisces and earlier this year with Jupiter in Pisces, it led us into getting a little bit like, not fantastical, but like it led us into kind of like tricking ourselves into certain things, right? And now I think we're kind of like coming up against like those things that we entered into that maybe weren't exactly the greatest, right? Saturn is taking a look back. Jupiter is taking a look back. So, this kind of comes as like a sobering drop off point, in my opinion, out of many in the next several months. So, this full moon in Aquarius is squaring the nodes and squaring Uranus. So, okay, sure. The square from the full moon to Uranus does have us feeling like things can change. It also exaggerates and highlights this Saturn-Uranus square that has to do with like restructuring, and not in the way that we like, right? I think Uranus is the people and Taurus is in fall, changing the people, kind of changing the species of the people weirdly, right? And, and Saturn in Aquarius, which is kind of like this control structure that's coming in under the guise of like AI, that kind of thing, like algorithms. It's the like energy that kind of wants to keep us distant from one another. And I think also, Saturn and Uranus, in terms of like the cosmic nature of these planets, are pretty big energies. So I don't think that we've seen the ultimate like realization of just how much things have changed quite yet, but I think that is coming in October, because that's when the Saturn-Uranus square is going to be exact again. And it's also when Mars is stationing retrograde, Saturn is stationing direct. And so I feel like October is going to be a very intense time but it doesn't compare to like March of 2023. So I'm gonna be making a bunch of different videos about kind of like what to expect in the transits to come, like Saturn in Pisces, which starts next year, Pluto in Aquarius. I think that we are all kind of like really wanting things to change. This aspect with the moon on Saturn squaring Uranus can be very frustrating because with the square to the north and south nodes in Taurus and Scorpio, we have this like very strong awareness of like what is not changing, like what is stuck, what do we have to abort or abandon ship about, you know? And I think that this is a really good day to release something. It's like a, you know, I think of Saturn as like maybe old limiting constructs that are like maybe belong to the old world rather than belong to your heart and yourself now. You know, so this is a good day to release like artificially imposed or like fake limitations, you know. Just to kind of give an example of that, one that has been coming up for me a lot. I talk about human design all the time. I'm a projector. This means that I need significantly like more sleep and rest than most of the population. If you are a projector in human design, there's like a necessity to let yourself rest when you feel tired, right? But there's always been this like background energy of like, okay, well, I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to do more. I got to make it happen. I got to make it happen. But that is actually when everything in my life fucks up. So I was in bed all day yesterday with a migraine, which is actually common occurrence for me. I get them once a month. They have shortened in the last several years. And so it's like progress is occurring on my healing process. But, you know, sometimes when I go through a stressful type of time and then I get a migraine, it's like, oh, you know, I'm coming up against this programming that suggests that I have to do as much as everyone else does, when that's not even in my constitution as a person. And I know that, right? So look to the house that Saturn and the moon are in. Let me know in the comments below if you want to, and I'll, you know, let you know what I think about it. And if you have any planets that are in the last, I would say like 15 to 23 degrees of the fixed signs, then this is going to impact you. So let me know if you have any of those. And yeah, look out for more content here soon. And I hope that you have an amazing day. Bye.